Just days ago, tragedy struck when Ruth Otabo, the sister of Big Brother Nigeria winner Fina, was hit by a Dangote truck. Now, another of these trucks has claimed 6 more lives in our Edo state. There is no longer an isolated incident. It is a recurring nightmare on our roads. How many more lives must be lost before decisive action is taken? Tonight, we confront this menace of these trucks, the accountability of those behind them, and the silence of our leaders. Welcome to J on Air. All right, joining us to have this conversation this evening, we have a lawyer, Mr. Oluwasegun Ikuforiji, a lawyer, researcher, and social commentator. Welcome to the show, sir.
It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, we also have Rachel Edache, who is a relationship coach and a social commentator. Welcome as well, Rachel.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone.
All right, so I want to lay out some statistics, so everybody understands how serious this is. We also the story of, Fina's sister, and how sad it has all been. One leg has been amputated. We're hearing that one is still uncertain, and arm as well. But for those that don't understand how serious this is, between 2015 and 2019, Dangote cement trucks were involved in 318 road traffic accidents, resulting in 377 deaths and over 1,000 injuries. This is according to the FRSC. Now that averages to roughly 75 deaths per year over that period. Some very big stories that the Dangote trucks were involved in 2015 of March. A Dangote truck killed an official of the VIO and 4 others. That's 5 deaths in May of 2020 in Ogun State. A brake failure on a Dangote truck led to collisions that killed 2 people and injured 7. November of 2024 in Ekpe, Lagos, a brake failure caused a Dangote truck to crash, killing 3 people, a tricycle driver, and 2 students. 2018, Plateau State, just south, as Dangote truck crashed into a bus. 8 people died and 10 were injured. Police later found the bus tire burst was the cause unrelated to the truck's fault. Now, in 2017, Abuja-Lokoja Expressway crash killed 16 cattle traders. Dangote later provided 500,000 naira compensation per family. I want to say that again, 16 cattle traders were killed and the compensation was 500,000 naira per family. So before we go into the major questions here, I'll begin with our lawyer here. How do you react to these statistics?
Well, I must say, first of all, that it's really disturbing. I've had incidents like this occur, but I didn't understand the magnitude until this moment when, you reeled out the facts and figures. It's really disturbing. And this goes to show that this is a menace that is threatening us in the face, and we need to tackle it headlong. No, are we saying that companies, truck drivers don't have the right to use our roads? No. Are we also saying that they can make profit at the expense of people's lives? Certainly no. And the fact that you also mentioned that a VIO official had been killed. So these are even people saddled with the responsibility of inspecting these trucks, these vehicles, to be sure that they are not overloaded and all of that. So they have become the victims themselves. So it's really saddening. It's something that the government has to look into.
Well, the statistics is actually very sad. But for me, I'll speak from a personal point of view, as I have witnessed Dangote truck in my school then killed a student, Benue State University, Makurdi, in the year 2013. So it has happened live before my eyes before. And I remember then students rallied around and protested against Dangote drivers and their trucks. So I can relate to it personally, not just by seeing Fina alone. Of course, Fina's opening up and coming on air to talk about it threw more light on the whole thing, but it's something that has been going on for a very long time now, and I think it's high time the government curbs it. In a way, we are not saying the truck drivers should not ride on the road. However, they should implement a more strict policies to protect the lives of citizens on that road. The statistics is saddening. Really.
And I'm glad that you brought up the fact that there is when it happened in your university in Benue State at the time, there are protests. As we speak, Auchi Polytechnic, Auchi students, they are protesting, against the Dangote trucks. We hear that we have some social media people already on ground and saying that those trucks will not be able to pass until Dangote actually does something about what is happening. And it just reminds me, I also schooled in Ondo State University, a state university, and you know, the road that is in front of the university is the road that leads all the way to Abuja, and we had seen a lot of students that have also lost their lives, also due to these trucks. So this is a story that is, you know, that is also personal for me. There's a story about a lady that is in the hospital at the moment. This truck hit her 11 months ago, and you know, she has a bill of 5 million. She's paralyzed, she cannot move, she has a breathing tube. There are videos, there are pictures. It's almost like after this incident, we're seeing more people come out to say, I mean, this has been happening for a long time. So from a legal and social perspective, do you see this as negligence or outright disregard for Nigerian lives?
In this part of the world, we don't place, you know, premium on the safety of our people. In law, there's a maxim that says that the safety of the people is the supreme law. There are laws, there are regulations that guide truck drivers themselves as to capacity, their competence, their skill, and all of that. There are also laws that guide, that regulate these companies. Companies are making profit. Government is making money from them. Are they saying that, trying to maybe enforce the law against them can affect maybe the revenue that they get from them? So there should not be double standards. So it's the fault of the companies themselves because they don't oversee the recruitment exercise of these guys. Some of them are minor. You look at their faces, you look at, can this person handle a truck? And this person is behind the wheel, wrecking havoc day in, day out. And you can also look at it from the perspective of these companies trying to, at all costs, reduce costs. They are competent people in Nigeria. Nigeria is a country blessed with human resources, but they will not go for the best hands. They will rather go for people they can give pittance. And what do you get at the end of the day? So you see the way all these vehicle inspection officers muzzle small car owners. Just a little traffic offense, you are in trouble. And some of these roads are not even motorable for these trucks. These are not the kind of roads
that these trucks should be on.
They should ply on. In advanced climes, you see roads for truck only. I've never seen anyone. I don't know if you have. I understand that the government has not provided for them enough. There are some lanes, just like the BRT lane, there are some lanes that should only be plied by trucks. But we don't have that. There was no foresight when they were designing many of our cities. So the government has a role to play. The companies have roles to play. Even the truck drivers themselves have roles to play.
So I want to bring you in here. When this story broke, the Dangote Group released a statement. I'm going to read out the statement, right? This is as relates to finance sister Ruth Otabo. This was from the official page. Now, this is a statement here from the Dangote Group. Following the recent road accident in Auchi, Edo State involving one of our trucks, which sadly resulted in injury to Ms. Ruth Otabo, senior officials from Dangote Cement PLC, together with our insurance team, promptly visited the scene, engaged with law enforcement authorities, and visited the victim and her family at the specialist hospital in Edo State. Now, the action reflects our unwavering commitment to the well-being of those affected. We are ensuring full support for Mr. Otabo, for Mrs. Otabo. That's what the statement reads, including comprehensive medical care and appropriate compensation in line with Dangote Group's welfare policy. Our thoughts remain with Mrs. Ruth Otabo, emphasizing the Mrs. again, and her loved ones, and we wish her a full and speedy recovery. How do you react to the fact that, you know, they're calling her a Mrs. when she's not a Mrs. and saying that her husband was in the picture with them? And do you think that this statement is good enough based on what happened to her?
Okay, so when I saw that statement, so I'm going to speak from both sides of the story now. As a corporate communications professional, I understand that Dangote Group wanted to do a reputation control and a damage control.
Immediately.
Yes, reputation control as it should be. However, they didn't do the due diligence to even show empathy in their letter or in their press release. They didn't do research on the so-called victim, on the victim. They didn't do any research on her. They just framed up a story, which even triggered people the more. They didn't even go to the hospital. Yeah, they claimed they went to the hospital, took pictures with someone that FINA could not even entirely identify everybody in the picture as her family. And then they now said she was married again. Married to who? That is the greatest damage, if you ask me, for Dangote Group. They didn't do due diligence, and this is to their corporate communications department. They didn't do due diligence to that aspect. They were in a hurry to just jump on the scenario, and then the letter looks like something that was crafted out of ChatGPT. There was no emotion, and then they said so much without saying anything. The letter didn't come up with any proposed solution or what they were going to do for the victim exactly.
People might argue there that, the company is also trying to ensure that they don't get sued, and so you cannot say too much in that statement, so that statement cannot be used against you in court. If you think about that, is that a worthy argument there?
What the letter contains were not true. It contained a lie that the victim was married. So it cannot even fly in the court of law. So I think they should do another reputation damage control.
To that.
Yes.
And do you think that what can be done here? Let me bring our lawyer back in, because this is still on their official X handle. Over 1.7 million impressions. Let's say you're coming from the legal angle. You're representing Ruth Otabo, for example. How do you react to this? And seeing that this has been bashed and is still up on the official page, what do you say to this?
The evidence is glaring. They have not denied that the incident never happened. So that's good. It all goes down to underscore the disintegrity of the process. If you claim that, okay, your agent, that's a truck driver, who is the agent of a principal, the Dangote Group, has done the damage, like she said, you are supposed to empathize with them. If you are going to compensate them, you should set up a structure on how to go about that. But even in the past, most of the compensations that have been given are meager. They are not commensurate. They are not proportionate to the damage that they do consistently. So at the end of the day, it's up to the victim's family to decide. But if they decide to go the way of the law, they have reasons to get something substantial from the company, so that it can serve as deterrent. So it's not even for them, if they are to try to maybe prevent any form of lawsuit. What they are supposed to do is to quantify the extent of the damage, the magnitude of the damage done rather. Then try to do something, because as a litigation person too, there are times when we have these cases and we see that, look, you don't really have a case, so why not let's try to use alternative dispute resolution. That's what I expect that they would have done. Not making up stories to excuse themselves out of the whole situation. So it now further creates some animosity from the family. So if the family were thinking of settlement before, from this makeup, this kind of story now, I'm not sure, if I were their lawyer, I would not advise them to settle. They should pursue the case conclusively, and I'm sure they will get humongous damages against the company.
I want to play a bit of the excerpt from Fina's video that got everyone talking. So we have a bit of understanding about this entire story.
I don't do a lot of things because I go sit down, I'll say no. My sister is in school. I have sisters in school. I don't do baby girl lifestyle. People think I'm like, I have a lot of reasons because I go sit down, I know where I'm coming from. I've been hustling all my life. I've been struggling all my life. My younger ones, I finished from school. I saw myself through school. I made sure my younger ones went to school. My sister can't graduate. Dangote trailer, crush up. He continue in jam. Like say in jam goats. If you miss a Dangote trailer, don't they keep people before? Dangote don't buy markets. That's what me I have to say. Because I don't know what that manager is doing at the court instead of the hospital. My sister's leg right now, the other leg, we're currently deciding what to do because Dangote, my sister has been damaged for life. And I cannot carry it alone. I was already happy that my sister, the last person, is done. And now I'll have time for myself. I was already saying I'll finally have time for myself. I'll finally use my money to enjoy. I'll finally enjoy myself.
I mean, we could go on and on. That is the heartbreaking video and audio, depending on where you're watching or listening. As I want to speak to Rachel here. Who should be speaking? Who are the people that should be spotlighting this and ensuring that this is not another story that is just swept under the rug?
There are social activists. There are also legal activists. There are also human rights activists. I am a social activist. And that is why I'm a social commentator. So we bring this kind of cases to light to attract those that are supposed to effect the changes, which is the government and even the corporate bodies. So in this case, we call on Nigerians, because it's FINA today, it could be you tomorrow. Especially when it happens to students. Families have spent so much investing in their child. And from what I heard, the victim is in final year. You can imagine the pain in her voice. So we call on Nigeria, it's all our responsibilities, because it's FINA today, it could be you tomorrow. Nobody is actually safe from this truck. We call on all Nigerians to come out and give a voice on this issue. We shouldn't leave it alone to social media influencers, because I heard someone calling Davido out, that since Davido knows Aliko Dangote personally, that Davido should put a call across to Aliko Dangote. But that is not the official thing to do. It is Dangote Group that is the problem here, not Aliko Dangote himself. We want government to put up regulations that will protect pedestrians and even travelers from the dangers and hazards of Dangote truck. I also like when he mentioned that the drivers are not mostly trained. Like the one that did this thing now, he could not even speak English, a young guy. I am of the opinion that truck drivers should be very mature men in their midlife, that have something to lose, that have something at stake. They have wives and children at home. They'll be more empathetic to the lives of Nigerians and even children than youths. Because a youth of early 20s sometimes have nothing to lose. But when he's a father and a husband, he will be able to empathize more with pedestrians and travelers and be more careful. So we are calling on all Nigerians, and not just for the legal system or the governments or the corporate entities. We are calling on all Nigerians, even road safety. Road safety have to come into this. VIO, we all need to stand up and fight this menace.
I want to bring a lawyer in here. Mr. Oluwasegun, do you think that, because she mentioned regulations, are there actual regulations that protect the average Nigerian?
Sometimes we undermine this country a lot. And it's because things are not really working. But I can tell you for free that we have plethora body of laws. There are some laws that exist that you don't even know exist. So on transportation, traffic, safety, there are too many laws. Just too many laws, but lack of enforcement is a problem. I'll mention just one of them to you. There's the Federal Highway Act. It now has a subsidiary legislation which is Federal Highways Control of Dimensions, Weights, and Axle Load of Heavy Duty Transport Vehicles Regulations 2018. Now, this particular regulation, a subsidiary of the Act, now tells you the kind of the quantity of load that a truck can carry. It talks about the duty of inspection officers, the VIOs and all of that, that when they see some of these overloaded trucks, you can check them. It's in this regulation that the specification for the quantity of load that you can carry should be boldly written on the trucks. But you see many of these trucks around. You just see the truck driver give them money and they let them go. The laws are there. Application is our problem.
Before you proceed with more laws, we on this show we've had a number of lawyers, right? Whether we're talking about real estate scams or whatever, and we all phone here, the laws are there. The laws are there. If we have laws, why then are people? Why then are we living in a country that seems like there are no laws? There's a lot of lawlessness in a country that has so many laws.
Interesting. When it comes to administration of criminal justice, there are different parties involved. There are different stakeholders. Now, let's look at this case in point. There's the victim. Now, the victim is supposed to lodge a formal complaint whenever any crime occurs. Lodge a complaint. This is what has happened. That's to the police, the law enforcement. Those are the ones who enforce the law. This has happened. They take your statement. Then they prosecute. If they don't have the powers, the attorney general, depending on the degree of the offense. Now, for many Nigerians, rather than going the way of the law, rather than following that mechanism to the letter, they go to the court of public opinion. There's hue and cry all over the place. Internet is burning. To what end? So I can tell you, if these families, the family of the victim, don't take steps, it will just be one of those stories that people will just forget about. We are people. I'm sorry to say, we are people with short memory. After this incident, now something else will happen. We heard of the chaos that happened at the airport. Look at what is happening afterwards. People have forgotten that. After this one, if you don't take action, something else will come up. So rather than just trying to throw a pity party, go engage a lawyer, put your evidence together, approach a court, and I'm very sure that once you are able to prove your case, damages will be awarded. So also some other stakeholders that should be involved, or policy makers, there are too many laws. We don't need new laws.
We just need more enforcement.
We just need enforcement. There should be no double standard. The law that applies to the poor should also be applicable to the rich.
I want to go to Rachel now. I mean, we hear what he's saying, and on paper, let's be honest, on paper, this sounds all good and true. People say now this is a company that is owned by the richest man in Africa. Well, not as owned, is the CEO, Dangote Group. So when you are facing such a huge entity, do you stand a chance when you take this case to court?
Okay, so it's not just about the strength. It is also about the finances, the money involved. Legal cases, you don't just go to court and 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 1 month you get judgments. The case can go for as long as forever. So, number one, who pays for the litigation fees? At every hearing, you have to pay a lawyer. Secondly, even before you go for litigation, you need to pay people for investigation, the same lawyer for investigation. Where will that come from? And then while all of this is lingering, the victim suffers. They say when two elephants fight, what suffers? The grass suffers. And at the end of the day, I'm sorry to say, Nigeria is a very good country and I'm a patriotic Nigerian. However, I do not believe that the average poor Nigerian can win a case against someone of that magnitude. I do not believe in it.
I'm going to chime in at this point.
Okay, please chime in. Please chime in.
You see, very realistic.
You see.
I'd rather settle out of court.
You see.
I'd rather settle out of court.
But when you say settle out of court, I know a lawyer wants to speak here. We heard about a particular case. They killed some cattle headers. They died though. This is not accidental. They were giving 500K. Their family.
This one has gained popularity. Of course, they want to do a lot of damage control. So they want to offer something substantial. It won't be business as usual.
Lawyer, you wanted to chime in?
I completely disagree with you. Let me tell you something. Law still works in Nigeria.
It does.
For those who are ready, there's a caveat. For those who are ready to test it. You see, we are a very impatient people. We want things to be done sharp. Do you understand? So I've had clients who, at the point of trial, this is his case. Okay, come and enter the box and give evidence that this company is owing you. And the guy became jittery. I said, the law, I no go fit do this one. Make we find how we go settle. It's his case. I had to, bow to what he said, and we tried to settle, and we settled. And I've also had clients who will tell you that, look, the law, I deal with you. You can go to any length. Your lawyer will be fired up to do, and undo within the ambit of the law. They are see, I can tell you for a fact, I did a case. We call it a judgment enforcement proceedings. We call it Ganishi. Enforcing money judgment. This judgment, I would not. Yes, okay. Let me give credit to the judge who made that decision. Honorable Justice Ekpaye, Atinuka Ekpaye, in Osborne then, gave a decision against the Central Bank of Nigeria, an agency of the federal government, that look, you have to pay this money that you have been owing since 2003. You have to pay, even with interest. There are many decisions that some bold judges have given against the federal government that even pay their salaries. People are not willing to test the law.
People will say after that judgment has been given, let's not, because again, I have to play devil's advocate here. People would argue that even after such a judgment has been given, do you understand?
Yes.
It takes years for some of these companies to pay.
Exactly.
Do you understand? A CBN can easily pay, let's say maybe the money the court pay is 50 million. It takes, because I've also seen cases in my family where a judgment is given, it takes years. Let's say it's an elderly man in his 50s, in his 60s, in his 70s. This man can die, you understand, while payment is still ongoing, and they're paying you 1 million here, 500k here,
exactly.
2 million here. So again, it goes back to what Rachel is saying.
I understand that our criminal justice system, our administration of justice system, has some inadequacies, especially with respect to speedy dispensation of justice. I know that we have some issues. There are times you go to court, they tell you the court is not sitting. And the client who has paid you for that day says, the law was not going to happen. There are some things that are within our own control as lawyers. Some things are beyond us. Some things boils down to the will of the government. If government wants to work, government will work. But when it doesn't affect them, it shouldn't. When it doesn't, see, okay, let me give you an example. How come during those COVID periods we were hearing that Supreme Court was delivering judgments? How did those things happen? These are national interest issues of national interest, public policy issues. They are able to speedily determine those ones. So we are saying that also that kind of approach should also be given to cases involving the common man. It's not like, see, people get judgment every day, and you are saying that it's possible that delay can be denial sometimes. There are also strategies within the same law. If there's a judgment in your favor against a company or against the federal government, and they don't want to abide by it, maybe the judgment is a Supreme Court decision. Yeah. You can file contempt proceedings.
What does that mean?
That, okay, you have been asked to abide by the judgment of the court because you have failed. Come and show cause why you should not be committed for contempt. And the punishment is imprisonment. That's why you see most times the CEOs of these banks, once they see that they have filed contempt proceedings, they quickly come forward. There was a time that somebody lost, EFCC arrested somebody. They impounded his vehicle and all of that. It took the matter up to the Supreme Court. How many Nigerians can pursue cases to the apex court? But this guy single-handedly pursued the matter. It now happened that the cars were missing. Cars that you impounded as exhibits. It means that a case is still going on it. How come the cars are missing? So Supreme Court now delivered judgment in favor of this guy. So it was now to enforce the judgment. So he now went there. Where's my car? They say they now told him that they couldn't be found. Do you know the moment they filed contempt proceeding against the EFCC chairman there, those cars came out. He was going to go to prison. Be you so high, the law is above you.
Let's bring Rachel in so that we don't lose track of this Dangote conversation. And I'll be opening the phone lines pretty soon. We've not really heard people from the government side speak up about this issue. I'm talking about the FRSC, I'm talking about the Minister of Transportation, I'm talking about people in that sector. Even in Edo State itself, we've not really heard from the Edo State governor speak up about this issue, or knowing that a few weeks ago the Edo State governor was saying that Peter Obi should not come into his state because it's protecting his state, and people said, are you threatening Peter Obi? He said no, as the chief security officer. If the chief security officer has not also said anything here, is this silence not deafening?
We are talking about the richest man in Africa. So it is the highest level of engagement. A lot of people don't want to go into his bad book.
Maybe because he's been benevolent to some
exactly.
of them in the past.
He's been
and when Nigerians benefit from something, they will not call it corruption.
Exactly. When it favors you, it's grace. So people are being very skeptical. That's why nobody is talking, because of the man involved. That's why no government official is speaking. And it is saddening for a country, for crying out loud. This is a sovereign nation. We are not answerable to that man. A country that has an independent president, independent government system, it shouldn't be. But being Nigeria as it is, that is what we are suffering for. A lot of people benefit from these corrupt practices. So they keep quiet about it and turn the other eye. That is what is going on.
Welcome to the show. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right, Bolaji, go ahead, please.
Yeah, let me firstly thank the social activist on board now, because I loved being saying the real truth about this whole issue. Because I think it is high time Nigeria need to wake up. We need to now make a law down to the house, because the only way the latest state will be using when we have the case with highly influential people is being adjourning the case to the extent that you yourself, you won't be able to come again, so that the court will now just dismiss the case based on some section on non-appearance and the like. I don't even understand my point, because now I think we should have this pass into law that any case should not pass the maximum of this amount. It will really assist us. Look at the Lagos State for example now. When they return the vehicle, when they want to sell your vehicle, they say they have a mobile code, they also take issue. They will give you the declaration instantly. Look at when they want to impose the law of this pedestrian route, they have the court instantly that will pass your judgment. Why can't we have the law on that? Is it because majority of them will be involved? Because of look at the case now. I don't know to when the will forget about the case. Or what are they trying to look at? So please, I think on this issue, the one we to do that, because then we will wake up to some extent that are going to face people in that house. That's just the issue, because this issue now of Dangote now is just going to open some of the people's eyes. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Bolaji, for calling and sharing your thoughts on this. So I want to speak to our lawyer here, Mr. Shegun. Let us put numbers. Let us get our numbers out there. How much is enough, especially when it involves death, and also when it involves somebody's life that has been changed forever? Because this lady is going to need help for the rest of her life. One leg is gone. You understand? They're saying the other leg, they're praying for it not to be amputated. The other, one of the hands also facing some issues. How much is enough?
Well, it will be difficult to put a number, a specific number, because the judge is the arbiter here. You know, you present your case, you present your evidence. The court can look at it in this manner. Okay, what would this person have achieved if their whole bodies were complete? Do you understand? So, what's the role? What position does this person occupy in the family? For example, if the person is the breadwinner, you can be sure that whatever will be awarded as compensation will be higher than if the person were a last born. Yeah, life matters, but there are a lot of things. So it depends on evidence. It depends on how your lawyer is really able to. So many cases are won and lost mostly on how they are done, basically. You understand? So I can't really put a specific amount to it.
Yes. All right, we're still talking about.
But sorry, in the past, I've heard courts award 20-30 million naira. In the past, that was before the naira became so devalued. 20-30 million naira. So I don't know what that can do in today's economy.
All right, let us speak to Rachel. Rachel, do you think that the media is doing enough covering these issues?
I don't think the media is doing enough. We are hearing more about these things now because of the advent of social media. Social media is stronger when it comes to pushing out news and information than traditional media. And I understand, being a part of a traditional media, I understand that a lot of news has to be filtered, especially when it is very, very sensitive.
Yes.
I know news is usually controlled and all. But thank God for social media. Social media does more justice to these things.
I mean, our lawyer was saying that, a lot of people rush to social media to talk about issues, but Ifina did not release this video, the Auchi video as well. It's a very gory video, but, it was a video that's just released on social media, and obviously it touches your heartstrings, and that is why a lot of us are talking about this issue. It's an issue that happened, I mean, Thursday, Friday, we're still talking about it on Monday, and it looks like, we're going to keep on talking about it this week, especially now that others have been involved. So don't you think that, in a case where it involves a strong entity, you have to still take this to the public, to the court of public opinion, even though you can still pursue this in court?
Yes, we are not saying they cannot take it to the court of public opinion. But you know, at the end of the day, what do you get from it? Sympathy, or maybe a GoFundMe. She could be so lucky, and people will just come together and pull, you know, huge amount of money together to help her. So I think in the past, social media have been helpful, although it's not the outcome. Whatever happens on social media will not affect the outcome in court. The court is not swayed by emotion. Law is about facts and evidence. It's not even about truth. Because if something is your own truth and you cannot establish it, you can't prove it, it's not backed by evidence. It's only between you and God. So the judge has to, you know, evaluate your case and see where he or she is going to tilt. So that's how it is. So court of public opinion is good to give it, to make it viral. But at the end of the day, they need to, the victims and the victim and the family needs to take it further by engaging a lawyer. Because in the course of publicizing or making this issue go viral, you can also step on the right of the company.
True. How so?
Through blackmail. You know, once you say something that is censored, you say it, and because these people have rights too. You understand? So where your own right stops is where another person begins. So if you are going to approach issues like, so that at the end of the day, the victim will not get compensation while you are facing charges of cyber stalking. So we have to be very careful about it.
Our statistics may actually not be accurate, because there are more people that are saying that they have people, they know people that they've involved. I spoke about my case when I was in school in Ondo State. She spoke about her case when she was in Benin State University. So there are cases that are not even covered by the statistics. Do you think that a class action approach is an approach that some of these victims may actually want to consider? Because chasing this individually, you know, you can get tired, you might grow weak. So what do you say to that?
Even from the economic perspective, a class action is preferable. You know, they can engage a lawyer who, you know, constitute his own team. So they can represent every person who has a similar experience. So I think it's a good way to go. It's better than not doing anything about it.
All right, Rachel, what do you say to the average Nigerian who don't believe in the government, who don't believe in the system, who don't believe in speaking? Because every time I have guests here, I always take the guests back to 2020, where people came out on the streets and protested against police brutality. And when that happened, a lot of government officials are still denying that people lost their lives. We still have lawyers that are still going to courts, going to prisons to get people that were arrested from 2020. Some people are still in jail. Some people don't know where their children are, don't know where their fathers, where their sisters, where their brothers are. These are the issues. So we are living in a society where there's a lot of trauma. People have fought in the past and are not willing to fight anymore. I've seen activists, you know, that have thrown in the towel and I've said, you know, I mean, if I don't want to mention names, think about activists from years ago. You don't see them come online anymore. There are people have done, let me just show my lifestyle. I'm not interested in Nigeria anymore. What do you say to that? Especially as somebody that is still constantly talking. I saw your video about the Ibom Air issue. So you're speaking about issues like this. What do you say to people who have given up?
All I can say to Nigerians is that stay out of trouble as much as you can. Stay out of trouble, because prevention is better than cure.
It's way cheaper.
It's way cheaper. Protect yourself.
In this case, I mean, she didn't look for anybody's trouble. She was on the road.
True.
So
she was a victim.
Yeah. So what happens in this case?
Honestly, it is a sad situation. But to other Nigerians, what I can say is protect yourself, stay out of trouble, be closer to your God, and hold your God closely, because at this point, if you don't have money, to fight court case, Oyo is your case. My lawyer here, my brother lawyer here is just saying go to court. But what will they go to court with? Going to court is expensive. Even as an educated person working and all, I pray not to have a court case. I have a lawyer, but most times, by the time it is going to get to that court part, I was call them, let's settle out of court. Should
our pastors be seeking more? We have a video of Apostle Suleiman, you know, coming out to speak about the case in Auchi. Do you think they have a role here? And should we call them out, you know, to speak about this, you know, issues like this? Because again, these are people that attend your churches and mosques that are losing their lives every single day.
True. Religious leaders have a huge role to play in all of this. However, they are also under some relationship with the government. There are some things they can't say, they can't speak about publicly. They are not as free as you think to delve into a lot of matters. So they are also held by the wrist too on certain matters. Religious leaders have a huge role to play in this matter.
Hello, Jane. Hello, guys.
Welcome.
My name is Ademola.
All right,
from Ikeja.
Go ahead, Ademola.
So my question is this Dangote issue, what happened to insurance? Is it just their trucks and the the properties they are carrying they insure? What about the life when hazards like this happen? What about the life? What are they offering? I mean, the insurance should take care of the lady in question. The insurance should be the one to take care of her, not the organization. Because if the organization is already insured, then the insurance should be able to take care of these things. You are offering someone 500K for what? The organization should already take over, try to get prosthetic legs, take care of our hospital bills, not until she's healthy, until for the rest of her life. Because of them, her life is changed forever. So it is something that we need to look into holistically, not just policies and all that. What does the policy say about insurance in cases like this? What should the insurance do in cases like this? Because they are also insured. So things like this should be covered under the insurance. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Adi. Just to clarify, the 500,000 naira case is not for this Fina Sisters case. The case that happened in 2018 that involved from cattle headers. So do you want to wrap up your thoughts, because we have to wrap this up?
Yes. Nigerians, we should be more cautious, in as much as we are praying that Dangote Group should come in and support this lady for the rest of her life. It is better to be alive and healthy than to fight for compensation. So Nigerians, be more careful, protect yourself, hold your God tight, because nobody has got your back like God.
Filing an action can be expensive, but in places like Lagos, you have institutions for people who are of low means. There's the Office of the Public Defender. You understand? There's legal aid. People are not just, I would like to say they are not informed. Walk into these places, they want to do these cases for you free of charge if you cannot afford to pay private lawyers. So there are institutions of government that offer free legal services. So National Orientation Agency should also do some awareness, on how people should use the road. I'm not trying to blame maybe the victim or anything. No, Nigerians too need to take precaution. If you drive in Lagos, you see the way people move about carelessly and aimlessly. They don't observe traffic rules themselves. Instead of using overhead pedestrian bridges,
people are crossing.
They cross. So people too endanger their own lives. So if we are blaming the government, our people too should also take responsibility for their own lives. So that's how I wrap up.
We'll wrap this up with J-Stick. This is a very, very sad case. And first of all, I'm sending my prayers and my heart out to the families involved. But I also want to say that this is the duty of every Nigerian to speak up about this. You're saying, but Jay, this is not my life. At the end of the day, you don't want this to happen to you and people not to speak up when things like this happen to you. So with your 100 followers, with your 50 followers, speak about this on Facebook, on Instagram, on X. Repost stories, do your research. You understand? We all have to collaborate, to ensure that when things like this happen, justice is served.